Today, my guest is Phil Aimé. He is the Chief Revenue Officer at Drivonic. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Hey, let's get started with just a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your career path, how you ended up sitting in this chair with me today.
Might take a while, Brian. I've been doing this a long time. It's an old bird here.
Yeah.
But listen, let me give you the 30,000-foot level view. Really, my career started, came from the West Coast. I was in Los Angeles, worked for a local TV station at KMBC, then got a job in national TV ad sales in New York, and really was trained there. Got put in one of the regional offices, which is one of them was Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a great place to go. And transferred there out of national TV sales, which was MMT, to some local TV stations. And I started the last Fox affiliate in the country for some of the guys out in New York. And then I ended up getting a job at WIS-TV in Columbia, South Carolina, which is a really big NBC boomer there. Enjoyed broadcast, thought it was my life, where I was going to go. But like all good jobs, I specialized in selling broadcast media to automotive. Mm-hmm. So I started my automotive was Tier 2 advertising with National, and then I worked with a lot of Tier 3 dealers, selling it, obviously, back in those days through local television. And so one of my best clients hired me and just said, I'm going to hire you away. And so anyway, I ended up doing a stint for about 9 years with one of the largest Ford stores in the country, Pulliam Ford, selling 750, 850 new Fords a month and another 400, 500 used. And we coined ourselves the Midnight Store. So we were the largest store in the Southeast and one of the top 7 in the whole country during the 90s. We bought some other stores, went on to develop some other companies, had a great career just in the car business because I got to learn everything from nuts to bolts to nuts, right?
Yep.
So I left there on a quest, as my wife and I did, and there I went into a little bit of the ad agency business, but not for long, because I ended up getting hired then by Charter Communications, Charter Media, and which is known as Spectrum today. I started in the regional area in North Carolina, in their office in South Carolina in Greenville, and they needed somebody who had automotive experience as well as media background, fit me perfectly. And I ended up for the next 14 or 15 years then being the national auto director for Charter, which was Spectrum, and also handled all their motorsports as well. We were big sponsors for over 12 years of Indy, NASCAR, and NHRA. And a great career, great run there. We bought Time Warner. Things evolved, corporate changed. I ended up moving to Florida, and Comcast hired me to be their Southeastern region auto director, which I were for a few years. And then it was just time out of corporate America as I was getting older. What's unique and fun to go do that I really liked? I still love the automobile business, but everything was evolving into data and the data space and granularly how data affects a dealer's decision. And I had worked with Experian and Polk and many others in my cable business for years. So it was an opportunity for me to stay home and concentrate on something that's new and different in the fourth quarter of my career. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned data, and so I want to hop right into data.
Okay.
You came from broadcast, and now you're working with data. How does data-driven marketing help dealership? And maybe if we could focus on conquest and acquiring new customers.
Sure. So data has a lot to do with the way that dealers should, or marketers, agencies should approach everything else that they do. In the past, it was always, hey, I have a good package from a media company, or here's a good idea that we need to do. What media do you use? And there was never a forethought of a strategic thought or plan. So strategic thoughts or plans would be, we're going to conquest, as you're going to say. We're going to go out and protect our share of market. We're going to go out and dominate and concentrate our core customers in a certain area. So those are all specific strategies and ways that you can go about your business. So dealers always thought backwards. They work from the back end first. It's a process. So strategic thinking, putting together a plan, what that plan then involves as far as what creative that you use, what media then that amplifies that or makes that work. And then the last part is the analytics. What was your return on your investment? So those are kind of the buckets that we work out of. And today, data plays a key role in that. If you have a strategic plan in which I'm going to go out and conquest, I have to know who I'm going to conquest, those defectors that go to a different brand or make, and where do they live? What media do they consume? What emails do they have? What phones do they have? What other ID devices do they have? And can I contact them and can I message them in a meaningful way? So that's a lot about how we go about our business today. It's building an audience first, which is the smart way, the strategic way, and then building creative around it, going to market as we do in our media platform in an omni-channel way in which we then, any type of consumer message that's going through the distribution of online, social, display, video, email, mobile, or SEM, all 6 of those channels are pretty much used in that message. We do it in omni-channel, and then that robust ability then to measure results at the end, because remember, we're building our audience first, so we can do one-to-one sales attribution in an influenceable way.
What about retention? I mean, retention's a big deal right now. I mean, with the inventory constraints that dealers have, you know, everybody's talking about the fear of not being able to retain the customers that you had. How does data-driven marketing help retention?
Well, first of all, we know who those customers are. Whether or not that we cleanse and hygiene their data from their CRM who came in and didn't buy a vehicle, but wanted to buy a vehicle, but more importantly, those customers out of their DMS system who did buy a vehicle, and you want them to come back and buy a vehicle. So we can take the data that we have, which is our first-party data, cleanse it, enhance it with the dealer's first-party data, and then we can come up with a very marketable list by segment, by age, how old the vehicle was, how long ago that they bought the vehicle, a whole bunch of different data sets that we can then take and go after that customer. That's what I call protecting your market share. I want to make sure that that customer comes back in, not only just to buy another vehicle, whether it's sales in new or used, but also service and service retention and what it means there. So we're able to do both sides, from the sales to the back end and the service. So it all begins on what you know about the customer and the data. It's the same for Apple, it's the same for Amazon, because what they understand about you first is who you are, where you live, what your phone and what your email is. A lot of that information isn't always captured by dealers in a meaningful way, and we do it for them, and we help cleanse and hygiene it.
You mentioned service. Is there anything in particular that we could talk about, like how data-driven marketing helps in the service department? Can you give me some examples?
Sure. I mean, the same type of messaging in sales works in service too, for those that defected, that bought a vehicle, that don't come back. Those that you want to retain, that you know are good customers, that you want to continually talk to. Those that also are conquest customers, that maybe they didn't buy the Ford from your store, but you still can service Chevrolet, Dodge, whatever. So those customers you can still attract too, and those that are very timely to your store, that live and convenient to your store, and you can make it known that you can have very quick service. So it can be defection customers, it can be new acquisition customers, it can be retention customers. So all the same strategies that you're looking at sales also work in the back end for service.
Well, let's talk about efficiency. I mean, it seems like if you know who you want to reach, and you know how to reach them, and you know where they are, it seems like that'd be a very efficient way to market. What does that look like? Like, what is the efficiency advantage that a dealer could enjoy? Well,
the efficiency is around the money, because when you're very efficient, and we're using a rifle shot, not a gunshot, to go after and talk to customers. We're not asking to do it by the household level. We're asking to do it by that individual, that we take historical behavioral information, overlay it with VIN verified information, and have some type of intent or outcome of what that data then will produce for us. So that really gives us an advantage in being efficient, number one, in who we're going after, because we're just not spraying and praying. And then with that, we're using a media platform that is an omni-channel.
Okay. Well, let's have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
Phil, what do you do for fun?
I love to play golf.
Yeah.
I love to travel. I love to fine dine. And what else do I like to do? That will take up most all of my extra time. I do have a beautiful wife and a daughter, so they'll take up a bunch of time too, because they travel and like to go places. So we're good travelers.
Cool. You mentioned the rifle shot. I want to ask a rifle shot question. Handicap, last vacation, favorite restaurant.
Okay, handicap, I am a 16.
Nice.
So there you go. Last vacation, Ireland.
Awesome.
And last, what was the other question?
Favorite restaurant. Favorite restaurant.
Oh man, I have a couple favorite restaurants. I love Mama Maison in Palm Beach. I love a couple of big steakhouses. I love Warren's, which is a big, beautiful place too where I live. So a couple of nice restaurants that I love.
Cool, cool. Well, let's go back to business. I want to ask a question directly about your business.
Sure.
How does Drivonic help dealers, and like what services do you offer and provide?
Okay. So we've been managing dealers' first-party data and upgrading or updating dealership databases like their DMS and CRMs and CDPs. So the big buzzword in the industry is CDPs, are customer data platforms. So to answer your question, Brian, for almost 10 years, Drivonic's been in the business for helping OEMs, Tier 2, and agency clients cleanse and enhance their dealership's first-party data. We started looking at data a long time when data wasn't cool, which we can now get to talk about. We evolved our legacy versions of the CDP for the dealers with our own audience intelligence platform, which we refer to as an AIP. This AIP has all the same attributes as a CDP, but with the ability to agnostically integrate third-party identity graph sets as well. And this allows for a much more holistic and consumer and market view. The last point, we then manage and oversee secure and compliant syndication of these audiences, which is very important today. And this also to our media distribution clients as well for the choice that we or that they decide. In the case that we have our own media distribution, we can actually use the analytics reporting platform that we have, and this gives us an opportunity to do direct sales attribution to quantify campaign successes. So we do integrate our data directly into campaign results. A note for Drivonic, we mostly, as far as helping dealers, we do it in an indirect way because we help channel partners. We are a wholesale back-end sales tool and provider with our data, media, and analytics. So that we partner up with a lot of auto ad agencies, strategic partners that are vendors, as well as go after dealers specifically that are now groups that run their own auto and marketing advertising inside, like a Sonic, Asbury, AutoNation, and these groups specifically. So those are really kind of how our ability to go to market and help dealers resolve.
Help me understand this. And you mentioned omni-channel, and we talked about finding the right audience. So you have a strategy, and then we identify the people that we want to reach. So we've got a group of people, and then with the omni-channel thing, if let's say that 5 of these people spend all their whole day on Facebook, so we're going to touch them on Facebook. 5 of these people prefer mail, so we're going to send them mail. 5 of these people, are doing something else, so we're going to reach them there. I mean, is that how it works?
Yeah, I think you're onto it. In most cases, everybody's an expert in something, right? So an ad agency, we come to you because we're your SEO, SEM experts, or we're social experts. We also integrate video, and we'll do video advertising and marketing. So they use siloed marketing channel approaches, and they may use 2 or 3 different ones depending on budgets and how it really works. We simply bring a holistic philosophy is, hey, any channel distribution that you're going online and looking at a vehicle, why not message them? The difference is I have already built a unique audience set first. So that audience set may be 150,000 people in a market. I then can serve them in every way since I have all that consumer information. I can serve them emails, I can serve them social, I can serve them opportunities in display through Google, I can do it video through YouTube, I can also do it through mobile and their SEM opportunity. And I can do it in each way so I can build a frequency so that we're building an awareness and consideration approach. And then how we're doing a call to action is through an email where we can talk about payment, incentive, what the dealer wants. So it's really a pretty mid-funnel, top-funnel opportunity if it's dealer acquisition. It can be very low funnel if we wanted to use a different strategy. So that's really our approach. The really great thing about it is then the back end, by absolutely using a proof of performance method with our digital analytic reporting, in which we can really see sales attribution by taking the sales of the dealership and cross-referencing it with the list that we provided at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we can give them an influence buyer report. So it's a very powerful tool.
So if a dealership is having access to this through an agency, then the agency would be driving it for them. But for the dealer groups that use it directly, they're interacting directly in your technology.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have somebody who leads that charge in a team who then helps them in any of the applications. We have 6 different product offerings, whether it's retention out of their CRM, whether it's protecting your brand share out of your DMS, as we talked about, whether it's new customer acquisition, whether it's using something in a geo-mobile application of your competitor stores, or if it's anything to do with SEM in a really finite way because we're building audiences. So we have these 6 different methods of product, building on the pain points of a dealer, and then at the same time how we apply that media to those channels of distribution all at one time.
Now, is this something that if one dealer or a dealer with 2 or 3 dealerships, is it something that they could use as well?
They could, and they can, and as long as they're not really actively using agencies or agencies like that, they can come directly to us. And this is new for us. We're just now getting into what we call Drivonic Direct. But we want to respect our agency friends and those channel partners that we do have. So as long as they're not working with somebody that's in our channel partner distribution platform, we would love to help them and work with them in any way.
Cool, cool. Was there anything else you'd like to share with our audience today, Phil?
I just think that it's come of age where data now should lead the charge, but there's so much data out there, they don't really have a good interpretation of what strategies to use. Mm-hmm. So I really believe that the way data can best be used is if you have a strategic direction in which you want to go. If you're going to dominate and concentrate your market area, if you're going to conquest it, if you want to protect your market share, if you want to advance because you're a big store and want to go to different parts of the market and build bigger market share, what does it look like, and then how does data come into play in your stores? And I think that this is the really important part in the thinking for dealerships as they evolve themselves, and then from there let the system play out. So strategically, what's the plan? How does data play a plan? What's the influence opportunity around creative? And then the media channels in which you deploy your message, and how do you determine what the outcome of your ROI is? So those are really important opportunities in which I'd leave the dealer and the agency thinking today in how they go to market and what they do. And whenever we see it, and whenever it goes into action, we see them sticking to it, and they also seem to do it a lot longer. And they grow their market share, and they're much more consistent in their market. So that gives you my kind of final thoughts on how I think about it.
I have one other question.
All right, go for it.
All right, so if a dealership, gets involved, through an agency or however they get involved with you, and they're using the data-driven marketing, and then over time, do they continue to whittle away inefficiencies and just get better and better?
Yeah, they do, and they figure out new things they want to do, because they can use more than one product allocation. If they're a digital new customer acquisition where they're trying to go after anybody out there who hasn't bought a vehicle from them, because we'll suppress out their sales, service, and CRM information to build on their competitors' customers. So it's something that they can go on and do for a long time, and we continually build new audiences, and the market changes. Some markets may not change in Akron, but they do in places like Florida or California. So it just all depends, and that's where you let your data do your thinking.
That's neat. So it sounds like a dealership could really, I guess you're measuring everything. So your creative is going to get better. Your identifying the right targets is going to get better. Your delivery is going to get better. I mean, are dealers saving a lot of money in marketing by not having as much spillage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a much better approach to building in a product like Drivonic into their marketing lineup, because it really is their base. It can be their foundation. If they want to go off and do a radio campaign or a TV campaign or an email campaign or a chat campaign, hey, great. But they have this great base because they know that they're hitting a core audience that is really specific to that dealership. And then they can go off and use other media sources for other things, whether it's going to be events like 4th of July specials or our anniversary. We've been in business 100 years, whatever it might be. So it really is a core opportunity to be able to include Drivonic in your base ad marketing campaigns because we're efficient and we have really good cost factors.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us today.
It is my pleasure, Brian. Thanks for having us here and having me here today. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today for this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Aimé. Today, my guest is Aimé. He's from Drivonic. This episode is Over the Curb and Burning Gas. Hope to see you again soon.